Good evening, boys and girls, and a very warm welcome to yet another live session by TalentSprint for your SBI PO mains exam, which is scheduled on the Sunday to come, which is 20th of July, and of course a lot of other competitive exams where such questions that we're going to discuss today are asked. Now, like you all must be aware, we are doing this series of 15 must-solve questions for the SBI PO mains exam, and today in this quick session today, we are going to look at question number 12 as a part of the series. Now this is on data analysis and interpretation, which you know carries a high weightage in this exam, and this particular one is based on simple and compound interest. Now, like we have seen in the last couple of years, more and more questions on data analysis and interpretation are being asked on concepts like time and work, time and distance, simple and compound interest, profit and loss, etc. Right? So basically, those traditional ones where we had line graph of profit of a company or bar graph explaining about population of a country, etc. Is no more very relevant, right? We have newer pattern of questions where either the data is missing or the data is based on some arithmetic concept like simple and compound interest, which we are going to look at in today's session. So what I shall do is quickly share the screen with you. It talks about the rate of interest of 5 different banks on deposits under different schemes. So there are different schemes A, B, C, D, E, and there are different banks A, B, C, D, E, 5 banks, and different schemes P, Q, R, and S. And the rates of interest for each of these schemes from 5 different banks is given to us. So look at this data quickly. There is nothing to really study and explore here, right? It's very simple. Rate of interest in percentage per annum of 5 banks on deposits under different schemes. So the 5 banks are A, B, C, D, E. The different schemes are P, Q, R, and S. And the rates of interest are given to us. So 8.5% per annum, right? 9% per annum, 7.5% per annum, 9.5% per annum, and so on. And now we will have questions, 4 or 5 questions usually, where each question is based on the data given here. So let's look at the first one, which is on your screens now. Now this talks about Mr. Anand, who invested 30,000 in A bank under Q scheme, which offers simple interest, and 40,000 in D bank under Q scheme, which offers compound interest. What will be the approximate total amount of interest earned by Mr. Anand in 2 years? Now, as you all can observe, the data is really simple. The type of questions that we may see are also gonna be easy. I mean, like in this one, you have to find out the interest from scheme, one particular scheme of a bank, interest from another scheme of another bank, and get the total interest value. One is a simple interest case, the other is a compound interest case. But what really matters here is, number one, your understanding of simple and compound interest and how you do those calculations, right? Do you use the traditional method of formula or use some other concept like percentages that we have discussed in our videos earlier? And number 2 is how quickly do you do these calculations, right? So what really matters is you have to be quick, and you all know that. And that depends on the 2 points that we have discussed here. So I'll leave you with this first question for about a minute. Let's see how many of you get the right answer, and then we will discuss the solution. So your time starts now. We're talking about 2 different schemes here. Get the required answer. I hope all of you are trying this out. Okay, so the time is up. Let's discuss the solution now. So basically this says there are 2 different schemes. Scheme Q, right? Scheme Q from bank A, and the same scheme Q from bank D, right? So look at the question. Mr. Anand invested 30,000 in A bank under Q scheme. A bank and Q scheme is this 9.5% per annum, right? Which offers simple interest. So this is simple interest. This is a simple interest case, right? And 48,000 in D bank under Q scheme. D bank and Q scheme is 9% per annum, which offers compound interest. Now this is a compound interest case, right? What will be the approximate total amount of interest earned by Mr. Anand in 2 years? Now the time period is 2 years for both the cases. Here the time period is equal to 2 years. You don't have to write this in the exam. I'm just trying to explain it, so putting it on paper here. And the principal amount is 30k. In this case, which is a compound interest case, the time period again is 2 years. And the principal amount in this case is 48k. He's invested 48,000. So is it not simple? You know the principal amount, you know the time period, and you also know the rate of interest. You know it is simple interest case. Find out the interest. Again, you know the principal, time period, rate of interest, and that it is a compound interest case. Find out the interest. Sum those up to get the required answer. How do you do it? Do not use the formula PTR by 100 or P into 1 plus R by 100 whole to the power of T minus 1 and all that is not required, right? Instead, go by the knowledge of percentages. If you are earning 9.5% per annum, if you earn 9.5% per annum, how much will you get in 2 years? See, 9.5% per year. So in 2 years, we'll make 19%. So the simple interest is going to be 19%. 19% of what? This 30,000. Right? Keep it as it is. We'll simplify it later. Now, what is a compound interest? In case of compound interest, the rate of interest here is 9% per annum and time period is 2 years. Now, you know that compound interest can be calculated using the effective percentage formula, which is A plus B plus AB by 100%. The compound interest in terms of percentage can be taken as A plus B plus AB by 100, where A is the rate of interest of first year and B is the rate of interest of the second year. So here for the first year, the rate of interest is 9%. For the second year as well, it is 9%. So what will be the compound interest? 9 plus 9 plus 9 into 9 by 100. Again, you don't have to put this on paper. I'm trying to explain this to you. Avoid paperwork. You know 9 and 9 is 18. 9 into 9 is 81. 81 by 100 is 0.81. So overall, the compound interest is going to be 18.81, right? This is 18.81%. In case of simple interest, it is just 9 plus 9. First year 9%, second year 9%. In case of compound interest, it should be 9 plus 9 plus 9 into 9 by 100. Right? You get interest on the interest on in the first year. So basically, the compound interest is 18.81%. 18.81% of. This time the principal amount is 48,000. He is asking you to get the total interest. What will be the approximate total interest, total amount of interest? So sum of these two. Now, if you look at the options, 14,730, 16,660, 12,990, 17,460, 18,540, you may approximate 18.81 to 19% because options are not too close to each other, right? It all depends on the options here. Options are spaced out, right? So maybe you can try taking it as approximately 19%. Compound interest is approximately 19%, let's say. Of what? 48,000. That's it. So now the total is going to be what? 19% of 30,000 plus 19% of 48,000. So if I take 19% common, what do we get? 30,000 plus 48,000. So basically you need 19% of 78,000. Now do that calculation, 19% of 78,000. See, 20% of 78,000, this is 78,000, right? 10% of 78,000, 7,800. 20% will be 15,600. Yes or no? 20% is going to be 15,600. We want 19%. 19% is 20% minus 1%. So 15,600 minus 1%, which is, let's say, 780. 1% is 780. So 15,600 minus 780 is going to be 14,800, somewhere around 14,800 or 14,820 to be precise. Which is the closest option here? 14,820, this one. So of course that's the answer. Are you able to follow? I'm sure option B, option C, option D and option E are not the answers. Hence, option A can be taken as the correct answer. So the important learning here is, number one, do not use the traditional method of, using the formula to get the answer. SI equals to PTR by 100 or CI equals to P times of 1 plus R by 100 whole to the power of T minus 1. Waste of time. Because you need to do a lot of paperwork there. Just remember the basic knowledge of percentages. Simple interest is simply the sum of percentages that you get in each year. Compound interest is effective percentage. A plus B plus AB by 100. That's point number one. So use this SMART method. Point number two is that you need to be good in doing your calculation. Those who all have calculated simple interest and compound interest separately till the final step and then added those two values to get the final answer have wasted their time. In this case, what did we learn? Simple interest is 19% of 30,000. Stop at that. Don't proceed and simplify 19% of 30,000. It's easy. 19% of 30,000 will be what? 5,700. It doesn't take time, but then even that 1 second is a waste of time. Or those 2-3 seconds that you spend is a waste of time. Likewise, we figured out that compound interest is 18.81% of 48,000. Approximately 19%. So now the advantage that you have is after doing these two, you figured out that 19% can be taken common. So instead of taking 19% of 30,000, then 19% of 48,000 and then adding those two, I'll take 19% of 78,000. And that again I would prefer doing without pen and paper, right? Whatever steps were put there were meant for clarity, right? But you have to do it mentally. 19% of 78,000, 20% minus 1%, 15,600 minus 780, 14,820. Closest option there is 14,720. I'll go for that. Yeah. So your numerical skills really play a key role here, right? The questions are simple, but how quickly do you arrive at the answer is what matters. Like I see Sai Manikanta marking, it has mentioned that the answer should be 14,728.8. Wow. Perfect. Maybe 14,728.8 is the answer. But I'm sure you've spent at least 20 additional seconds in arriving at that precise value of 14,728.8. That's not required. So play it smartly, avoid paperwork, and do only what is necessary. Let's move to the next question on your screens now. Here he talks about Mr. Rajan, who deposited an amount in Q scheme with C bank for 2 years. After that, he withdrew the amount and reinvested only the principal amount in S scheme of B bank for 2 years. Total amount of simple interest accrued from 2 schemes is 14,800. What was the principal amount? Try this out. 1 minute again, your clock starts now. Done. 40,000 is what one of you have got. Let's try it out. What does it say? Mr. Rajan deposited an amount in Q scheme with C bank for 2 years. Now Q scheme, C bank is 9%. After that, he withdrew the amount and reinvested only the principal. This is very, very important. He reinvested only the principal. So he kept his interest with him, reinvested only principal amount in S scheme of B bank for 2 years. S scheme B bank for 2 years. Total amount of simple interest accrued from the 2 schemes. So both the schemes were on simple interest. The total interest that he got from both the schemes was 14,800. What was the principal amount? Very, very simple question. See, eventually if you understand what is the principal invested in scheme Q of C bank, P, let's say. What is the principal invested in scheme S of B bank? Same P. Because he withdrew the amount and reinvested only the principal. So same principal was invested in both the banks, in both the schemes. For how many years? For 2 years, right? And both are simple interest cases. So what will be the total simple interest? See, 9% for 2 years is 18%. Here 9.5% for 2 years is 19%. This is total simple interest. So 18% from one scheme, 19% from the other scheme. Of what? Of the principal amount, of course. This is equal to 14,800 according to the question. Find out what is P. 18 and 19% is what? 37%. So 37% of some value is 14,800. What is that value is the question. Do the calculation. You getting it? So what will be P? See, 37 into 4 will be 148. 37 into 4 is 148. So principal will be 400 times 100, which is 40,000. And that's your answer. Please avoid paperwork. You don't have to write all these. In fact, I would say you should do this calculation mentally. 18% and 19%. 37% is 14,800. You just have to look at that 37 and 148. It goes 4 times, so that is 400. Since this has a 100 in denominator, that also gets multiplied. So 400 times 100, 40,000 is the answer. Not approximately, exactly 40,000 is the answer, right? 37 into 4, 120 plus 28, 148. Again, very simple, but most of the times we make it complicated by doing paperwork and ending up wasting a lot of time. So be very careful. Next question on your screens here. Quick. Here he's talking about two guys, Ramesh and Kalam, right? Ramesh invested 45,000 for 2 years with B Bank under R scheme, which offers compound interest, and Kalam invested equal amount for 2 years with C Bank under S scheme, which offers simple interest. Who earned more interest and how much? Quick. Alright guys, the time is up. Let's work on this now. What does it say? Ramesh invested 45,000 for 2 years with B Bank R scheme. B Bank R scheme, 8%, which offers compound interest. Now immediately do the compound interest calculation. 8% means 8 plus 8 plus 8 into 8 by 100. So 16 plus 0.64, 16.64. So basically Ramesh got 16.64. This is Ramesh's calculation, right? 16.64 of what? Of that 45,000 that he invested. Kalam invested equal amount for 2 years with C Bank S scheme. C Bank S scheme is 10.5%. So we are doing Kalam's calculation now, right? Now this is simple interest. The previous one was compound interest, this one is simple interest. So what will be the simple interest? See, 10.5% per year. So in 2 years, how much will you get? 21%. 21% of what? Of which amount? Invested equal amount, it says. Equal amount meaning the same amount. 21% of 45,000. So who would get more interest? Obviously Kalam would get more. Because the principal is same, right? 45,000, 45,000. This is only 16.64%. Although it is compound interest, it is only 16.64. This is simple interest, this is 21%. So Kalam would get more. So A and C are immediately eliminated. Cannot be determined is also eliminated. Answer should either be B or D. So even if you are solving this question in the last 10 seconds, let's say, you should immediately eliminate A, C, E, and let's say you have to make a guess. You can't solve it. You don't have time to do the calculation now. You should either mark B or D. There will be 50% chance that you are correct, right? Anyway, I think we can do an approximate calculation because look at the values. 1254 and 1962 are really spaced out. They're not close at all. So I can do an approximate calculation. What is the difference? What's the difference? Simple. 21%. Let's say this is 17%. 21% and 17%. What's the difference? 4% approximately. Difference is approximately 4% of what? 45,000. What is 1% of 45,000? 450. 4% will be what? 1,800. You're getting it? 1% of 45,000, 450. 4% will be 450 into 4, somewhere around 1800. So B is eliminated. 1962 is close to 1800. See, actual difference is not 4, actual difference is 4.36. We have taken 16.64 as 17. So we are getting 21 minus 17, 4. But if you actually keep it as 16.64, then 21 minus 16.64 will be 4.36. So actual difference is 4.36, meaning actual value will also be more than 1800. So it is justified that the answer is 1962. Okay? Simple. Next question. On your screens now, you have 1 minute. Let's see how many of you get the right answer. $14.28. All right, let's try this out. E-Bank offers compound interest under P scheme. E-P scheme. Compound interest. How much will that be? 18.81%. I mean, see, this is the advantage of using that effective percentage formula, right? If you practice enough, just by looking at the percentage value here, rate of interest, you will be able to tell what the compound interest is going to be for 2 years, right? 9% for 2 years. So this is going to be 18.81%. Then A bank simple interest S scheme. A bank S scheme simple interest. How much will this be? 20%. So this is going to be 20%. Now what will be the difference in these two schemes in 2 years if it is 1.2 lakhs of investment? So basically approximately 1%, 20%, and this is let's say 19%. What's the difference? 1%. 1% of what? 1.2 lakhs. 1% of 1.2 lakhs will be 1200, but options are not, option. I mean, yeah, by 1200 maybe option B sounds right, but you observe that options are close. 1268, 1358, 1428. So you may not want to take a chance because the value is huge. Understand that 1.2 lakhs, even 0.1% of 1.2 lakhs is 120 rupees. So that makes a huge difference, right? So your answer or the difference here will be 20% minus 18.81% of 1.2 lakhs. Right? So actually it is let's say 1.2%, approximately. 18.81 is 18.8. So 20 minus 18.8 is 1.2. 1.2% of 1.2 lakhs. So that's like 12 into 12, 144, right? Somewhere around 1440 should be the answer. Best answer is 1428. Yes or no? 1440. It should be slightly less than 1440 if you observe. Because we have taken approximately as 1.2%. Actually, it is 1.19%. Actual value is 1.19, meaning slightly less than 1.2. So answer should be less than 1440. You're getting it? Slightly less than 1440. Anyway, options are all eliminated because of 1.2 times 1.2 resulting in 1440, which is closest to option A here. Quickly, the last one here. This is slightly different from what we have been doing so far. May take a little longer. I'm sure all of you will be able to get the right answer. Got it? Alright, time is up. I think we have taken enough time for this already. Let's look at this now. So D offers compound interest under Q scheme. D Q scheme compound interest, simple 18.81, right? So that's 18.81. And simple interest under S scheme, the same bank D, simple interest under S scheme. So this will be 19%, right? This is compound interest, so it will give us 18.81%, and this would give us 9.5 times 2 is 19%. Now what does it say? Dinesh invested 25,000 with this company under S scheme, under this scheme, right? The simple interest scheme. And after 1 year switched over to Q scheme along with the interest for 1 more year. So what is the total amount he will get at the end of 2 years? So basically we have wasted our time by calculating 18.81 and 19%. That's my understanding after reading the full question. So sometimes it is a waste of time if you just keep doing calculations as in when you read part of the question, right? Because now if you see, he's not talking about 2 years. He's talking about 1 year investment in this scheme at simple interest and the next year's investment in this scheme at compound interest, which is also like simple interest. So effectively, if you see what is happening here, he's talking about a bank which gives compound interest in Q scheme and simple interest in S scheme. Dinesh invested 25,000 with this company under S scheme, in this scheme. And after 1 year, he switched to Q scheme. Now when he switched to Q scheme, did he invest only principal or principal and interest? He invested principal as well as the interest, because he says he after 1 year switched over to Q scheme along with the interest for 1 more year. Along with the interest for 1 more year. You getting it? Along with the interest for 1 more year. So basically he invested his principal as well as the interest amount in Q scheme for 1 more year. See, understand, compound interest scheme for 1 year is as good as simple interest only, right? So what will be the total amount that he will get at the end of 2 years? First of all, what will he get at the end of 1 year? At first year. How much will he get at first year? See, he will get 9.5%. 9.5% of what? 25,000. I mean, we are talking about interest only, and then we will add the principal. 9.5% of, how much is that? 25,000. What is 9.5% of 25,000? See, 10% of 25,000 is, or basically, I think, look at the options. I don't even have to do the calculation here. We'll get some value. What happens at the end of second year? At the end of second year, how much will he get? He will get 9%. 9% of what? 25,000 plus the interest that we get here, I. Now the simple observation is, look at the values: 27,000, 29,000, 33,000, 39,000, 30,000. They are so spaced out that I don't think we need to even calculate I here. We can do an approximate calculation to get the answer. For example, let's assume this is 10%. What is 10% of 25,000? 2,500. So this is 2,500. If this is 2,500, this will be 25,000 plus 2,500, 27,500. 9% of 27,500, which will be, let's say, another 2,500, approximately 2,500. So I am assuming the total interest that we get is somewhere around 5,000, and the principal that he invested was 25,000. So your final answer should be close to 30,000. Yes or no? Your final answer is going to be close to 30,000. So options A, C, and D can be eliminated. 27,000 is not the value at all. 33,000 is too much. 39,000 is anyway out of scope. It should either be 30,456 or 29,838. But then again, 30,456 and 29,838 are close enough. Not too easy to distinguish between these two. So we may have to do a little precise calculation, but you know what needs to be done, right? 9.5% of 25,000 is the interest I that you get here. That I you add here, and on that you get 9%. Then whatever value you get here, sum that up with the principal amount to get the required answer. You getting it? Is there any other way now? Let's just check if there's any other way of getting to the final answer in this last question of this data here. He's talking about SI and CI both. How do you do it? Okay, let me clear this approximate values to see what happens. Why is my eraser not working? One second, sorry. Yeah. So let me clear this also. So basically we know it's going to be 25,000 plus whatever interest I we get here. Yeah. Now what is I? See, 9.5% of 25,000. 10% is 2,500. 0.5%. 1% will be 250. So 0.5% is 125. 2,500 minus 125 is going to be 2,375. So this is 2,375 basically. I. Now the second year, at the end of second year, the interest that you get will be 9% of 25,000 plus 2,375. How much is that? So 25,000 plus 2,375 is 27,375. 27,375. Let's say approximately 27,000. I mean, we'll do a little bit of approximation. 27,000 approximately. 9% of 27,000. 10% is 2,700. 9% will be 2,700 minus 270. So that will be 2,430. Yes. So your final answer, the total value that he will get at the end of 1 year, at the end of 2 years, the total that he will get is his principal amount, of course, which is 25,000, plus this 2,375, plus 2,430. Remember, in all this process, our calculation of 2,375 was accurate. We have not done any approximation here. The only approximation that we have done here is in this case. Instead of taking it as, 27,375, we took it as 27,000. This is the approximation. So we have slightly reduced it. This is a slightly reduced value. Actual answer may be a little more than this, right? Anyway, so how much is this? 25,000. See, 2,300 and 2,400 is 4,700. 4,700. I think this is 4,800. Even if you increase it slightly, it won't cross over to 30,000. 25,000 plus 4,700. 29,700. That's the approximate value that we're getting. Even if it is slightly more, it should be option B only. 29,838. Right? Option E, 30,456.75 can be eliminated. So option B is the final answer here. Option B is the final answer to this question, with a little bit of understanding on approximations, right? See, one key skill that you must build, and I'm sure you must have already got used to it, is when you're doing an approximate calculation, you should be clear enough about to what extent the approximation is being done. Is it like really close to the actual answer or far away from the actual answer? And more importantly, what you're doing, the approximation that you're doing, is leading to a higher value or a lesser value. If you get that clarity while doing the calculation itself, options can be eliminated easily, right? You've got a question here. Why are we adding 2375? Again, he already invested it, right? No. So basically, what I've done, guys, here is I have calculated the interest in first year, interest in second year, and then added these two interests to the original principal value. That 2375 that he has invested has not been added in the actual, final answer. So we added it one more time. We've added it actually there. When we added 2375 to second year's calculation, we have only calculated the interest on that 2375. The actual 2375 was not added at all. Okay. So don't be confused. I think simple concept of it looks like a compound interest question, but actually it is simple interest, because it's for 1 year at one rate and another year at a different rate. That's the only difference, right? It's not a compound interest calculation at all. So 29,700 is the approximate answer, which leads to option B. One important point is numerical skills, and that I had mentioned in the beginning itself. So what really matters here is your ability to do these calculations quickly and more importantly smartly. So keep practicing. I think that will help you get a good grip on this. Okay. On that note, let me close the session here. Thank you all for joining us. Not a very complex question in my view, a simple one. You should be getting 515 in this particular one in about 4 to 5 minutes in the exam maximum, right? So that's, I think, the ideal time that you can spend with a very important learning one, being good at numbers and being good at approximations, and of course the concepts of simple and compound interest. Thank you once again for joining us. We'll meet again tomorrow, same time, 4:30 p.m. with yet another interesting question or concept for your SBI PO mains exam. Until then, you guys keep practicing and take very good care of yourselves. Bye.